Which one is this one? I don't want to. I want to do the musicals.
The dealer signed. Yes, about time.
Get on the line.
I did what I had to do.
That's what they did too.
Now in Hades town there are a lot of souls. Keep your head. Working on the wall with all their might.
There we go.
They kept their heads down low. If you want to keep your head. Couldn't quite see their faces.
Alright guys, I'm going to give it just a minute because this is one of the art class sessions that I have not done in for fucking ever, but a couple of friends have asked me about how I do posing and the like, so we're going to do that today. I'm going to give people a little bit of time to show up. I know a couple of them are not able to make it to this stream in particular, but as always, unless, you know, a copyright claim actually requires me to take it down, I'm gonna leave this bitch up so y'all can come back to it if you want to. We're feeling the Hades Town tonight, that is true. So, Hades Town, we're gonna be feeling the American Idiots. A little bit of Hamilton, because you know what, I'm allowed to enjoy things. And possibly others. This is just a musical playlist that I put together for whenever I really want to sing in the car, whenever I want to sing sappy shit. So give me just a minute while I fetch me a drink, and we gonna get started. Gave you everlasting life. Down Hades Town, way down Hades Town, way down Hades Town, way down underground.
What do you mean I look like that? That's what it looks like to forget. Forget what? Who you are. And everything that came before. I have to go. Go where? Go back. Oh, and where is that? So, what was your name again? You've already forgotten.
You see, it's like I said before.
And just like normal, guys, if you have a question about whatever it is we're working on today, which is largely going to be posing and anatomy, just so you know, you can put it in the chat. If you have questions about a different art topic that you would like for me to work on at a later date, you are welcome to ask me on Tumblr, because that will actually save it for me, and I will come back to it. The rust been rolling. Down Hades Town, way down under the ground. Alright, I think that about gives us enough time.
I was younger than you are now.
Quit coming up with songs I want to sing to.
I was given my first
Let's do this. Dynamic posing. Shit, I haven't thought about that in ages. So you guys are gonna hate me, but number one thing with art is references. But at some point you do want to get to the point where you're like, no, fam. The brain knows what it wants, and we gonna get it. And I get that. I really do. So we're gonna learn some things. So I'm sure you guys have noticed, I like to start off with a basic frame that is circle and a cross for the head, with a little line and a dot for the neck and where the neck meets the body. Our shoulder line, the chest, and like very much the church shape, right? And then the spine, which will lead us into the hips. There's our hips. And then with the legs, very straightforward. A lot of times I won't even do like separate, draw the thigh and then draw the calf. I'll just draw the whole leg, especially if the leg's straight. And then find the knee. This is my shorthand for how I draw bodies. Whether that's... this is the base for pretty much any character. You can kind of see if I take this leg and I bring it up here, clearly my legs are longer than what typical anatomy will dictate. That's fine. It's an art style thing, is what I tell myself. But if you want to get good at posing, if you want to understand how the body works, you do want to pay attention to actual anatomy, at least at first. It's like I said earlier today, we learn the rules of anatomy so we can break them. That applies to pretty much everything to do with art. We learn the rules of art so we know how to break them. That's just the reality of it. But you guys don't care about, my philosophies on learning. You guys care about actually doing dynamic posing. So, hi Lolo. So, without further ado, I'm actually going to be drawing D&D characters tonight because I desperately love them. I feel like I haven't drawn Navari in a hot minute, and homegirl just got a glow up. Last Sunday, Navari got herself shot, healed, forgot to remove the bullet before she healed, and had to have surgery before getting into even deeper shit because my character's a fantastic bitch. Which is all that to say, she got new clothes because there was blood and rips all over hers. So now comes the point where I ask you guys, what poses do you guys want to see? They can be as broad as, I want to see fighting. They can be as specific as, I want to see this specific move in fencing. I will Google search whatever the hell we need to find, because again, references. But I want to know what you guys want me to actually work on. So I'm going to ask you guys, and then I'm also going to ask Discord. Judo flips, cause why not? Okay, thank you, Lolo. Oh, that's a cool pose. Way down, Hades town, way down under the ground. Dumb. Okay. It's just real quick.
Winter's now and summer's o'er. Hear that high and lonesome sound of my husband coming for. Bring me home to this town.
There we go. Now we got a reference.
Way down on the ground. Down there it's a bunch of stairs. Brother, I'll be born today.
Lolo, I love you. We're not getting that in depth. For one, I'm stupid and I did not warm up before this stream. And for another, I'm sorry, but I have this inner bastard that doesn't like being told what to draw. So let me grab my brace and we'll get going. Hades down, lay down under the ground. Okay. So, what we're going to do first is we're going to break down the actual pose that we see so we can learn how to draw it. We're going to do the first character in blue, and we'll do the next character in reddish. So, first thing that I like to do is I identify where the shoulders are. And it can be hard to recognize where the shoulders are. This is why we learn. This is why we study. And again, we're going to go through like the typical, what is it that we're identifying? What might help is to identify the spine early on.
Everybody looked and everybody saw it was the same man they'd been singing about.
You're early.
I missed you.
Mr. Hades is a mighty king. Must be making somebody big deals. Seems like he owns everything. Kinda makes you wonder how it feels.
Sorry, I got lost in the music for a minute.
All aboard!
And this, where this part of him is hidden here, this is where we kind of need to rely on our understanding of anatomy that we build from other things. You know, we're not just going to jump straight into doing cool judo flips. We have to know how the body works. Because I just guessed at that shit. I just guessed at where to put that fucking circle for his hip. But I'm confident in my guess because I've looked at the human body a lot.
Asked to see. I know you're busy.
So again, we're continuing on with making our skeleton. Oh shit, where the fuck is the rest of it? Well,
Sir, I don't know what you heard, but whatever it
we can
is,
see.
Jefferson started it.
We turn this back up a little bit.
Thomas Jefferson resigned this morning.
Here's some of his legs.
I need a favor. Whatever you say, sir.
Now his knees, probably looking at about right here. Oh, I see. This is actually the back of this other guy. Okay, that makes way more sense. And again, you are going to make said mistakes. Like that one. You are going to fuck up. It's okay. We all fuck up. One last time. Let's take a break tonight, and then we'll teach them how to say goodbye. Say goodbye. You and I. Lolo, if you jump straight into judo flips, you will regret it. Okay, Real quick, I will tell you guys, I'll put the link here in the comment section of where you can find stock photos for free that are not going to get you in trouble. Those 3 sites are really good for stock photos just in general. I admit, this one I shamelessly pulled off of Google because tonight I could not be bothered to give a single flying fuck. But if we're trying to be nice children, any of those 3 sites will help you. So I'll use it to help them along. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to map out dude number 2. Now I know last time I said start with the hips, or start with the shoulders. This time, his hips are right here, so we're going to start here. And again, we're going to identify, here's his head, so his spine is kind of doing a weird little thing like this. It's okay, they're professionals, they know what they're doing. And this, again, is why you learn anatomy, because if I take this away, it can be a little difficult to make sense of all of that.
Though in reviewing the incidents of my administration, I am unconscious of intentional error. I am nevertheless too sensible of my defects not to think it probable that I may have committed many errors. I shall also carry with me the hope that my country will view them with indulgence, and that after 45 years of my life dedicated to its service with an upright zeal,
so now we can take this away, and we have these 2. Looks like maybe his arm might be coming up. Kind of like that. Again, I'm blind here. I am just guessing. But now, we know kind of what the pose looks like. And we can simplify it, because that's what lines of action are, okay? They are the simplified version of your pose that kind of helps you to make it look cooler. So, if we dial this down, and we're just looking at our 2 poses, our blue guy is very much following this kind of line of action, while our red guy is following this line of action, which is very pretty to look at. Like, that's a cool pose thing. It's fun. There's a reason we like looking at it. There's a reason the photographer took that picture, and it wasn't just, oh, look at the computer flip. This is aesthetically pleasing. We like it. And that is how we decide our poses. When we talk about dynamic poses, we're not just talking about cool shit. They are dynamic for a reason. They evoke action. They evoke life. They evoke a story. The 2 arrows are telling a story. And so now, what we can do, we can take this over here, and we're looking at our 2 poses, and we're looking at this. And I like to use what Clip Studio calls the lighter pencil for preliminary stuff. And I like to make it a little bit bigger so I can have room to just kind of fudge the details. And it is okay if, like this particular leg, you have pieces that are sticking off of your line of action. That is fine. It happens. We're gonna tweak this all over the goddamn place. And again, you want to keep your reference in mind. So we can see, oh, he's grabbing the top of his clothes. So we kind of know the purpose of why things are where they are. So now we can kind of see that we went from this to this smoother look. And now I'm going to take away all that. And I'm going to work a little bit harder at it. Because now we're going to build the bodies. I don't like working in that kind of glue. And you may find that this happens where you're like, hey, that is an abnormally long neck for what we're trying to do. Now, if you are drawing digitally, you do like I did. You say, fuck it, we're going to make it smaller so it's a better reference. If not, yes, you will have to read it.
Trust she will provide. And if no one takes too much, there will always be enough. She will always fill our cups. I will. And we will always raise them up to the world we dream about. And the one we live in now. Because right now we're living it now. Some people long for a life in a simple and blind time with a ribbon. Some people won't sail the sea 'cause they're safer on land. To follow what's written, but I'd follow you to the great unknown. On to a world we call our own. In my hand and we promise to never let go. walking a tightrope. High in the sky, we can see the whole world down below. We're walking a tightrope. Never sure, never know how far we could fall. But it's all an adventure that comes with a breathtaking view. Walking a tightrope with you. Ooh, 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 ooh.
So now we can look back and we can see it's not super accurate. It has been changed. But especially with our blue guy, move this over. Especially with our blue guy, we can see where our lines of action were, and we can see where the movement's going. That's what those are for. Is just to kind of put everything together and sleek it a little bit, and telegraph the commotion a little bit more. Let's see. What else? Talk about. How to start this thing. Honestly, the biggest thing with dynamic posing and posing in general is you want to A, learn your anatomy. Anatomy is a big help to these sorts of things. And B, keep practicing.
It's all an adventure that comes with a breathtaking view. Walking a tightrope. Ooh, 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 ooh. You. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, with you. With you. Alright guys, so we've basically gone over my big things about dynamic posing. Let's see, action line stuff. If you're really looking on how to draw action lines, or you're wanting to skip that construction step that I did earlier, easy way to do that is to typically follow the spine. You know? It's not quite the same as whenever we did the deconstruction and all of that. It's the wrong fucking layer. But you see how the arrows line up a little bit. Don't be afraid to experiment with your lines of action. You can see how these, they squiggle a little bit. You know, this one curves up and then it curves down. This one is one continuous curve like that. Play with them a little bit. Don't be scared. Just practice and references and all the horrible parts of learning art that make you want to tear your hair out. Having said that, I now have an hour of time for me to do whatever the fuck I want. So, let's think. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? There's so many options. I don't really want to draw Bane right now. At least not the way he is in the campaign right now, because I'm going to be real. I'm lazy!
He's wearing full body black armor. I'm gonna draw that right now. Honestly, I might draw it though because the Amazing Man's gonna be back tomorrow night, which I'm a little vexed about. Can't have my usual lunch, but whatever. We're cool. I am a rational human being. Tell you what happened to Cole? Do we wanna do some My Father's Son designs? Is that what I'm hearing, Logo? Let's see. Oh no. What am I have? That's just blank. Give me just a minute, guys. Do I even have that one pulled up? I do! Look at me. Okay. Okay. Sorry, this is the closest thing I have to a reference for Cole in My Father's Son is this one. So we're going to be jumping back and forth between it pretty heavily. But you know what? I need a reference for him if I'm going to write this motherfucker. Alright, so if this is going to work, if this is what we're going to do, you guys are going to have to ask me direct questions about him. I'm not going to spoon feed you stuff.
Texted those cards sent to you, did it go through? Sending all my love to you. You are the moonlight of my life every night. Giving all my love to you.
I told you specific questions, Lolo. So, Cole is not dead. Not at the beginning of the story. Alright guys, I've just gotten a hard deadline on today's stream. We're going to end fairly early, honestly. We'll be done here in 30 minutes because I'm hungry and my dad's offering to cook. So anyway, Cole is not dead when the story begins. He is missing. The hard part about that, though, is for the majority of the story, aside from, prologue-y things, he's been dead for a while. And so, Flint never... That's the wrong word. Flint has not met his dad. Maya and Ella really don't have much of a memory of him. Think like how Nia didn't have much of a memory of Ray and Maya. And Jay and Nia basically have accepted the fact that their husband is probably gone. forever. And they're just going to have to deal with that. What is bothering me about this? What is it? Something's bothering me. So I guess a proper explanation would be not yet. So I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to film my phone. Alright. So, specific question as to why Cole went missing. That I can answer. Sort of. So I think we all know at this point that I am shit at actually planning. But Cole's going to go missing because he was protecting Nia. That's going to be what does it. Is Nia is going to be, it'll be when her pregnant with Flint. Because that does tend to weaken one. And if I were going to nab a ninja, I would wait until they were weak with one of the little parasites. That's trying to be a nice ragdoll fill. And he's going to protect her. There will be a confrontation where the options are either he leaves her in the hands of a villain, you know, wife, unborn kid, or he can take her place. And he's going to take her place. And there's going to be this acceptance that this probably means that they will never see Cole again. And then they don't. And so there's definitely going to be a little bit of a complex with Nia and with Flint of being very protective of this poor kid. Not just because he looks almost exactly like his dad, but also because, like, Cole very much sacrifices himself to protect him. Listen, that's what they are. I am the eldest of 5 children. I've seen this rodeo a couple of times. They're little parasites that we keep creating to continue the species.
What are you afraid of?
What?
He's just a boy in love.
Have a drink, why don't you?
No, I've had enough. He loves that girl, Hades.
Well, that's too bad.
He has the kind of love for her that you and I once had.
The girl means nothing to me.
I know, but she means everything to him.
So?
Let her go. Hades, my husband. Hades, my light. Hades, my darkness. If you had heard how he sang tonight,
I admit I'm not a fan of armor, which is why I don't draw it very often. I should draw it more because it's a weakness of mine, but I don't like drawing armor.
And his heart is a bird on the spit in his chest. How long, how long, how long?
How long? Just as long as Hades is king. Nothing comes of wishing on stars. And nothing comes of the songs people sing.
let's see. How much of a pain in the ass mask can I make to cover Cole?
How long? Just as long as I am your wife. It's true, Earth must die. Then the Earth comes back to life, and the sun must go on rising. And how does the sun even fit in the sky? It just burns like a fire in the heat of the sky, and the Earth is a bird on a spit in the sky. How long? How long? How long?
He does indeed. That is correct. If Cole were, you know, at the wheel, he would not be attacking his family like this. But, you know, he's a little preoccupied, so he's not calling the shots. And I can see a world that's waiting for me. That I call mine. Through the door, through the door, through no one's been before. And it feels like home. You can say it all. No, actually, this was not inspired by D&D. Honestly, it's undecided is what it is. I haven't really nailed it down yet because I haven't spent much time thinking about it. Unlike a lot of other projects, this is kind of my baby. So I'm flying a little blind here as well. Vision of the one I see. What did inspire this? I think what originally inspired it was possibly some of Rena watching Treasure Planet. I watched some Treasure Planet and got the nostalgic feels. I also was really wanting to write a third part for the continuity that is Limelight and Prime Programming, but I didn't know what to do with it because I felt like I kind of, yeah, you can only mind control Jay so many times before it gets old. And I haven't thought of anything to do with Mia yet, but I did want to have a missing parent. But I didn't want to have her missing, so that just kind of felt cheap. So that left poor Cole. Think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. For the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, to say that you'll bring me home. The world you see, the one I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. A million dreams Think of what the world could be, a vision of what I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. That's it. I honestly, there's not a whole lot of inspiration that comes to me that I can pinpoint down. A lot of it just comes down to, hey, you know what would be cool? And then chasing that rabbit wherever it goes. But I do think I am going to go ahead and stop here, though. This has been a lot of fun. If you guys have more questions about pretty much any of the stuff that I do, I know a lot of my stuff is based on characters and posing. I will always try to answer questions if I can. Or direct you to tutorials if I can't. That said, y'all have a good night.